So I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what it's like to be in Japan during a state of emergency and during COVID times. And so I thought I would talk a little bit about that right now. Currently, about 21 prefectures are under a state of emergency. A lot of the southern prefectures, and also now a few of the northern prefectures, such as Miyagi, where I am right now. So if you've been following the news about the state of emergencies in Japan, you know that they're on, off. It's hardly ever just long state of emergency. So Miyagi hasn't been in a state of emergency for quite a while, but now they recently imposed it. So I think it was the start of September up till the 12th. Today is the 10th, so soon we'll be out of it, thankfully. But what does it mean to be in a state of emergency in Japan? And to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's any different. Like 3 weeks ago, didn't feel any different from right now. And by that I mean the restaurants still close at 8. Schools are still open. Yeah. So recently Miyagi has been added to the state of emergency because our numbers have been higher than they've ever been before. That is what I heard. And so they put a state of emergency. But the day-to-day life hasn't changed much. Actually, it hasn't changed at all, except for the fact that restaurants are obligated to close at 8. Otherwise, they will incur a fine. So before we could go to a restaurant at 10, 11, if we wanted to. Not many of them were open, but the few that were open, we would be able to go to. But now we just can't. And so that was really the only thing that changed. The schools are still open. Sometimes I wish, they would close the schools because observations are coming soon and we don't need that stress in our life. But schools are still open, grocery stores are open, everybody goes around doing their thing. Nothing has really changed. The only slight change is, I guess, the social pressure to use masks outside even when no one's around. And yeah, that's really it. I know at my school we only postponed some events and we did a couple of show measures. By show measures I mean measures that we take for COVID, but it's really just for show. Like banning snacks, sitting a few more inches apart, things like that. Living during COVID times in Japan, you have to sanitize your hands before you go into every store, wear your masks everywhere, even if there's no one around, and that's really it. In downtown Sendai during the Tanabata festival recently, that's when I noticed they were taking the most strict measures. So in most large cities in Japan, you have this long covered strip of stores. I heard it called the arcade, but it might be called something else where in the other cities. But in this arcade, super long, they divided it in half and traffic flowed this way, this direction on that side, and then this direction on this side. And there were checkpoints at every block that checked your body temperature. You'd be walking and then this machine would just read your body temperature and display it on the TV. And there were officers there watching so you didn't take off your mask. But that was the most extreme I've seen here in Sendai. And the recent news is that Miyagi will get off the state of emergency and go to the next tier down, which is basically just a recommendation. Businesses are recommended to close at 8. You are recommended to wear masks everywhere. You are recommended, for this or that. You're not obliged. But a lot of other prefectures are staying in the state of emergency. Don't know how it is in Tokyo, but if you live in Tokyo, please write down in the comment, how is it? Is it the same as here? As in, doesn't feel any different? or is it a lot stricter? The numbers are declining, so hopefully we can get off the state of emergency once and for all and allow tourists back into the country and, support the economy. But yep, so that is how it's like living in COVID times in Japan. Be sure to check out my other videos about what it's like living in Japan and tips on how to move to Japan, as well as an apartment tour and day-to-day life vlogs. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.